Okay, I have that recording going and that recording going. Okay, guys, I hope to not take up too much of y'all's time, but because the rest of the entire class is one large project, I really thought that getting a face-to-face live meeting so y'all can ask me questions and we can talk about it would be warranted. So I'm just going to go through a few things. I have the chat board up. So if I'm sharing my screen and you have a question about something, you can unmute your camera or you can use the chat feature. So at this point, wait, where did I go? Share. Desktop one. Okay. At this point, hopefully when I say words like grants and funding source and RFP, you guys know what I'm talking about. That's my hope at this point. If not, we're going to talk a little bit more about it today. So hopefully all of you have read my comments on your funding sources. Some of you found excellent funding sources. Some of you, we needed a little work on them. So if you have not gone back to read my comments on that module, you'll definitely need to do that before you can get started with your grant. So I made this grant template and it is linked in Moodle. And I thought this would just be a way to make all of our documents look uniform. It'll help me to help you get your grant to the best place it is. So much like in some of my other courses, when we build on a Google Doc, I am really not worried about grading this second half of the class. If you are meeting your assignment deadlines and you are putting in the effort and I am giving you feedback and you are taking that feedback and running with it, you're going to get 100 for this second part of the class. My main priority is to get this grant, whether it's actually going to be submitted or whether this is just an exercise, which is the case for most of our higher ed people, the best that it absolutely can be. That saying that even if this is just an exercise, maybe next year you find a funding source that you actually can put this grant into. So that's where we're going. So here are the first two steps that you absolutely need to make sure that you have correct before you go any further. So hopefully you have found a funding agency. That is whatever company, parish, whatever, that is putting out this grant and that will be giving you the money if you do receive this grant. So whatever funding agency that is, and then copy and paste the RFP here. We've talked about that acronym, but just to remind you, that is the request for proposal. It's basically the instructions on how you are to write this grant. So what I'm going to say past this is most of your RFPs are going to be smaller than what I require you to do in this exercise. That being said, I want to make sure that you can do all of these things that are mandatory in larger scale grants going forward. So if you copy and paste the RFP here and it only has you doing a one-page summary and a budget, well, that's great for later, but you still have to do the larger activities that we're going to outline down below so that I know you have that competency leaving this class. Okay, questions so far? We good so far? Good so far. Okay, I'm not going to stop unless y'all tell me to. So module 7 is really the rest of the class. I mean, I hate to put it in one module, but it's writing the parts of the grant. And in module 7, it's broken up into 4 parts: your organization, your problems and your needs, your program goals and program design, and your evaluation. That's all well and good, but we are not there yet. The first thing that you need to do, and this is a collaboration between each one of you individually and me. Y'all all have my cell phone number. If I'm not giving you feedback in a manner in which you need to, text me, call me, whatever you need. And it's very, very important to get this done before you go into your grant. So first, what do you want to get done? You may say, I want my 4th graders to be one-to-one with iPads. You may say, I want all of the secondary social studies kids at E.D. White to have Chromebooks. You may say that I want to set up a new advising lab just for student athletes. You may say that I want to fund graduate students on a research project abroad. Whatever you want to get done, just put it down in layman's terms right there. Second, why do you want to get this done? You'll see later in the particulars within the grant that I'm going to make you have resources. You're going to have to look at literature and say, why do you want to get this done? Okay, you want to put in Chromebooks. Why? Because you want to increase achievement in math. And this project says that Chromebooks help. Why do you want to set up an advising center? Because you want to increase retention for student athletes. Why do you want graduate students to go on a study abroad? Because it will increase the faculty student research capabilities. Whatever, I'm trying to give broad examples. I know I'm hitting on some of y'all's specific examples, but I'm trying to give across all spectrums. Why do you want to get it done? For this very first part, you just have to tell me why. But know that later, you're going to have to connect this why to existing literature. So if you don't want to have to do that later while you're thinking of this why, you can look in the literature and cite at least 2 sources of why it's a good idea to do this. Okay, what will you need to purchase to get this done? I haven't looked at your budgets yet. I'm sorry, I've been in advising fog the last 2 weeks, but I promise I will get to them tomorrow and give you feedback. If my feedback is perfect, done, all you have to do here is link to your budget. Okay. This is probably my most important step going forward, because if your goals and objectives are not right, all of it underneath is not going to be right. And the absolute worst thing that could happen is you say, okay, here are my goals and objectives. I'm going and I wrote this 20-page grant, but when I go see your objectives, I'm like, nope, that's not right. Now you have to redo the whole thing. We don't want to do that. So that's why I'm saying before you go through anything else, you and I need to collaborate and make sure that these initial things are right. So those of you that are not teachers or don't have training in the education field, I'm going to explain what a goal and objective is. For you teachers, just hang on 1 second. I may say a few things that you're not familiar with either. So a goal is a large goal, usually tied to a technology plan or a situational, I don't want to say university because you're not all university, a school improvement plan or a university improvement plan or a university looking to the future, what we want to do in the next 5 years, situational goals for university or school. Broad thing, not something you can do with one grant, okay? So let me give the example of, I think Ashley might work with, we want to improve the online experience for students by educating faculty on how better to teach online, okay? So that would be a huge goal, right? There's no way one grant could do that. So that would be my goal. If I would say objectives under this.
Dr. V, I have a question.
Yes, please.
For the goal, like, would one of the goals be like in the next 5 to 6 years, all students will have one-to-one technology? If that's like your
absolutely,
parish,
absolutely, and that's Blair, right? Just going by your voice.
Sorry.
And Blair, think of what we've done in this class so far. You remember when we evaluated the tech plans? Wow, method to my madness, right? That's what we're looking at here, is this goal to be linked to some type of school improvement plan, some type of parish plan, some type of university 5-year goals or plans, things like that.
Even if it's not successful?
Like even if it's not successful.
Okay.
Because honestly, the goals are not your goals. They're your school's goals. They're your parish's goals. They're your university's goals. They're your department's goals.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Great question. Keep them coming, y'all. Okay, so goal, big thing, and I'm going to put tied to an existing plan. Does that make sense? Existing plan to wherever you are. I'm sorry, I'm talking with my hands today. Objectives would be your objectives for your grant. These are smaller, these are doable, these are attainable within a set amount of time. They are under the umbrella of a goal, so they are part of that goal. If you meet all of your objectives, you don't necessarily meet the larger goal, but you're working towards it. Okay, let's do my making student online classes better for student experiences at Nicholls State University. Let's go with that example again. So if that is my goal, one of my objectives would be professors who teach online will utilize live meeting sessions through through Zoom, Adobe Connect, or other approved tool at least 3 times per class per semester. Could you attain that with one program? Absolutely, I think you could. Now, would absolutely every professor do it? No, they won't. And my teachers, since you're used to writing goals and objectives, you can get very specific and say, give it a qualifier. So say 80% of professors at Nicholls State University in the College of Education, or whatever you would like to do there. That could be one goal. Another goal, if we're staying on the same theme, would be 80% of professors use screencasting software to introduce modules at least blah, 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 blah. Does that make sense, guys? Another one could be 80% of professors use Google Tools for Education, which is like Drive, what we're using right here, Drive and Docs and all that good stuff. So goals, very big. Objectives is what you're actually going to be doing in your grant, what you want to accomplish in your grant. My higher ed people, my non-teachers, this is going to be the most frustrating part of the grant for you because you've never done this before. My teachers, this might be the easiest part of your grant because you do this all the time. When we go further down in the grant, that's going to flip-flop. My higher ed people are going to have an easier time with organizational funds and all that, and you guys are going to have a little bit harder time. But right now, just know that higher ed, please don't get frustrated with this. We may have to go back and forth 5 or 6 times. But the thing I absolutely have to bring home is you cannot go any further in the grant writing process until the goals and objectives are situated. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense? Okay, I'm almost done. I promise I did not want to keep y'all too long today. After we get all that done, that's what your brain needs to be on right now. My teachers are going to get that done really quickly, so I'm just going to very briefly go on to the other 4 major parts. My higher ed people, let's work on that for as long as we need to. So here are the other 4 parts of what we're going to do on our grant. I did not put them detailed on the Google Doc, but if you go over to Moodle, you will see that all of these things have individual due dates. Oh, I need to bump that back. That's like next week. Okay, I'm going to bump these.
Monday,
yeah,
week.
I'm going to bump these back a little bit, guys. Each one of these has very specific instructions. Higher ed people, you may have done this part for someone else. You may have already done this. And if you copy and paste it from somewhere else, dude, if it matches everything, go for it. That's what I was saying. That first part's going to be harder for y'all, easier for teachers. This part, my teachers have never done. So this is going to be harder for them, easier for y'all. For your organization, start big, go small. So say we are at Nicholls State University, give me some information. Then we're just targeting student athletes, give me some information. Then we're just targeting at-risk student information and give me some more information. For schools, talk about your school. and give me good information. Then talk about all of 5th grade. Then talk about just your class, big to little. Make sense? Okie dokie. And again, resources and all in here that help you how to do this. Problems and needs. This will come directly from that goals and objectives. Okay, you have this big goal, you have their objectives. What you're going to be doing is kind of flipping it and say, there's a problem that I need to solve. Here's one thing that I feel like every semester I need to make y'all repeat 10 times on this live class because somebody doesn't get this. The goal of your grant is not to buy stuff. The goal of your grant is not to buy stuff. The objective of your grant is not to buy stuff. If you're getting Chromebooks, awesome. If you're getting a new advising lab, awesome. The goal of your grant is to do something constructive. The goal of my grant and the problem statement may be my 4th graders are not excelling in math on the standardized test. And how I'm going to solve that problem or reach that goal is get Chromebooks on my classroom to get some remediation software for their math. The advising center example, the problem statement may be that we are only retaining 60% of at-risk student athletes after year 1. If you're working with Nichols, institutional research has, no. Okay, I have 10 minutes. I can talk fast. Institutional research has all of this information. There's a link on their website that you can request this sort of information if you want it. Okay, and let's go back. Okay, that was program design and program goals. That is going to be where you articulate step by step what you are going to do with this grant. Please, if you haven't, I have 2 very large grants that were funded. One called the TARI grant, one called the Enable grant that I have written. Please take a chance to look at them, guys. They're going to be much bigger than what you're going to write, but it's like filling out a form online. They're very meticulous, very step by step. And if you can just read over 1 or 2 good ones, seeing good examples may be worth 1,000 live classes. Do you see what I'm saying? It just depends on how you learn. I can sit here and talk at you all day, but if you look at some of those really good examples, that might click everything in your mind for you. And then your evaluation is going to be linked to your objectives. So if your objective is to increase retention, how are you going to know if that happened? Well, we're going to collect data after the 2021 school year to see if retention for those students went up at all. Does that make sense? Know that this is an 8-week project, y'all. This is a beast of a project that I just went through. What I am most concerned about is that first part on that Google Doc. That's what we need to perfect for now. After we do that, if we need another live meeting or if I need to do some screencasts to help with the other parts, we can totally get there. But the biggest part right now is that you have your funding source, you have your RFP document, and you can get your what do you want to do, why do you want to do it, that big goal that's tied to some existing document, and then those smaller objectives nestled underneath it. Because everything stems from there, y'all. Like your evaluation is linked to your objectives, each one linked. Your program design is all linked to your goals and your objectives. So if those aren't right, you're going to get messed up for everything else. So let's get all those right. Coolio?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm done. Questions, problems? Was that helpful?
I had a question with when you mentioned the goal and the objectives.
Mm-hmm.
It says write a goal and objectives. Are there a certain set number of objectives?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would not think that a grant would have one objective. I would think that a grant would be a few objectives.
Okay.
For example, you may have more than one goal. Go look at those examples that I'll put on Moodle. Everything is going to make so much more sense when you can actually see these things in place. For my teachers, this is not unlike a large lesson plan. That program design is your detailed procedures. Your evaluations are your formative and summative evaluations. For my teachers, the organization and the problem statement is your new things in here. Those two things are probably things y'all have already done in higher ed. So we're going to have concentrations on either side, and don't think any work that you send me is being judged. The only thing I will judge you for is lack of effort and not turning things in on time and not responding to my suggestions. If you put goals, objectives out there that are just 100% wrong, that is fine. You made a starting point. Let me give you some feedback on that and help you come up with ones that are better. Okay, so don't be afraid to send me something, even if you know this is not right, but I'm kind of stuck. Send it to me and let me help. Cool?
Dr. V, can you scroll up a little bit?
Absolutely.
Document, where it says copy and paste RFP here.
Yes, that is your, say again?
I think I might have missed that when you explained that.
No problem. That is your request for proposal. So when you find your grant that you're writing to, they'll have a set of instructions. Okay. And in the grant world, that's called an RFP, a request for proposal. And what I said, Blair, you may have come in a little late. Your RFP may be just a one-page summary. It may be nothing.
So it's giving you the directions for what they want you to do.
Correct. And it may be nothing. It probably will be a lot less than what I'm having you do here. But as y'all go forward into your careers as leaders, I want y'all to be able to do these larger grants.
And what if you have more than one? Do you want us just to choose one
to go
with?
Choose one. And remember my teachers, as I put on that thread, Donors Choose is not a funding source. It's a great tool. I love it. That's not a funding source. That's not a grant. You need to find a grant. Okay, other questions, problems?
Yes.
Kevin?
Through a university, higher ed, since my grant's going to go through Nicholls State, do I have to get the routing form that all university professors use?
Are you actually going to turn it in?
No, that's not possible.
No.
Because the funding date is...
Exactly. Most of y'all in higher ed, this is just an exercise. So no, you do not have to do the routing form. Although it's cool that you brought that up. I may need to do a little screencast for you higher ed people that don't know about internal routing forms. I wouldn't have known about that for my first grant unless somebody taught me. So good point. Okay, my time's about to run out. Anybody else? Nope. Go hug your families, kiss your babies and puppies. I'm still disappointed we didn't see puppies. Ooh, wait, I have chat. The doc is asking me to request for access. Kristen, you have to be with your Nicholls email to request access to it, to access the Google Doc. You always have to be signed into your Nicholls email to access the docs. Oh, you were? Okay, let me look at my settings. Okay, sweethearts, I am done. Y'all all have my cell. Text me if you need anything. I'm going to play with my kiddos, and y'all have a great day.
Thank you.
Anytime. I'm going to post the recording to this up on Moodle in case you missed anything. Y'all have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.